Hello dear students. Today we will be learning Python programming. My name is Ms. Pushpa Chutil and today we will learn definitions in Python. So in today's lecture you will learn about functions. What is a function? Its syntax, its different components and the type of functions. Also you will learn how to create functions in Python. So here I am saying about function and you can see the topic is written as definitions in Python. So let me tell you, in Python programming the functions are called as the definitions. So today we will be learning about definitions in Python. So let's see, what do you mean by definitions in Python? In Python, a function is a group of related statements that performs a specific task. I can say a function is a block of organized, reusable code that we can use again and again and again to perform a single related action. So my functions are basically used to perform certain specific task. Functions helps us to break down program into smaller and modular chunks. So as my program grows larger and larger, functions make it more organized and more manageable. So definitions of functions provides me a better modularity for my applications, and apart from that it also gives me a high degree of code reusing. I can make my code reusable many number of times. So in Python these definitions are nothing but the functions, and furthermore it also avoids repetition and make the code reusable. You have learned function in C programming. In C programming you have different type of functions. You have two categories of function. First one is the built-in functions and second one is the user-defined function. Likewise in Python we have two types of functions, built-in definitions and user-defined definitions. So in the previous lectures you may have seen the print statement. This print statement also comprises of a opening and a closing bracket. This indicates my print is also a definition, but definitely it is a built-in definition. So this is a built-in definition, but you can also create your own user-defined definitions. So let's see, what do you mean by user-defined definitions? Definitions will be a huge leap forward for the student's capability as a Python programmer, because definitions will let you to reuse the code. It will let you to define a concept that you can use again and again, and this means that whatever the problem you are going to solve, it will make it easier. So being a programmer, when I see my progress in Python, you can see on x-axis I'm having a progress in Python, and in y-axis I can see the difficulty of problems that you can solve being a programmer. So when I say about the basic data type, you can see the difficulty level is growing a bit. When I say about loops and logics, again the difficulty level in Python goes a bit higher. Similarly, when you go beyond again to the more concepts, the complexity goes on increasing. So in between that, here my definition lies in between, that is, it is in between this loops and logics and beyond the further concepts. Now Next we will be learning about definitions. How to define a function, how to define a definition. When we will be defining a function in Python, we will define it by making use of the def keyword. DEF, def keyword, that is the definition keyword. Now before using the definitions in Python, first we have to understand certain rules that we have to follow before defining a function in Python. So my Python definition basically starts with the keyword def that marks the start of the function header. So whenever I'll be writing the definition, my function will start with the def keyword. A function name is uniquely identified and it will remain unique throughout my program. So my function name, I have to define a function name. The function name also follows the same rules of writing identifiers in Python. Next rule says the parameter or the arguments through which we passes the values to the function, they should be placed within the parenthesis. So I may provide an argument and I may not provide an argument. So they are basically the optional. Next is the first statement of a function can be an optional statement, and this is known as the documentation string of the function or the doc string. Next is the code block within every function that should start with a colon, and everything written inside a function is intended. So my colon indicates the beginning of my function. One or more valid Python statements that makes up the function body. Statements can follow the same identification levels. They can follow the same indentation level. So in functions, the indentation is very much important, because if you have not indented your statements properly, so the statements can go in the other functions. Lastly, an optional part is there, which is a return statement. This return statement is basically used to exit from a particular function, and this return statements may also return a value from the function. So before creating the function, we have to follow certain specific syntax, like we have to follow the def keyword, we have to follow the correct indentation, we must use the proper structure. So now let's go through the overview of the function structure. As I've already told you, in definitions in functions, first thing that we have to follow is the def keyword. So the keyword is telling me that now this is my Python function. Next is the name of the function. So once you will write the def keyword, after that you have to define the name of the function. This function is a user defined function, so you can give any name which is convenient according to you, or the name which properly identifies my function and its work. Next is the name of the function can be the combination of many words, but that combination should be in accordance with the lower cases or the underscore between the words. So you can join more than one words and you can give the name of the definition, name of the function, but that should be included with the lower score and the underscore. Next is the parenthesis. First we will give the def keyword, After that we will define the name of the function, and after that we will give the parenthesis at the end. This parenthesis can include the arguments that we want to pass into the function. Last one is the colon, that indicates an upcoming indented block, and everything is indented inside the function. Next we have the multi-line string to describe the function. The doc string, it is the first string after the function header and is called as the doc string, and it is the short for documentation string. It is basically briefly used to explain what a function does. Although it is an optional, documentation is a good programming practice. So for example, if I am writing a function and I know it well what my function is going to perform, but suppose some other person is going to check my program or is going to run my program, so he may not understand what is the task of this function. So basically for the documentation purpose, this doc string is usually provided. So everything is indented. So firstly, let's start with the first coding part in a definition. We have defined the definition by using the def keyword, then we have given the name of the function. After that you can write all the code that you want to write. So all the code that you want to write will directly go after your doc string. So now once you have written the statement, the next thing that we have to do is the calling of the function. Until and unless you will call the function, you will not be able to use that function. Okay, so like the C language, you can directly give the name of the function followed by its opening and the closing bracket, and you can call the function. So in this function we have used only a print command to print hello, so the output of my program will simply print the hello. Now we can also use the arguments that we want to pass to the user, and that we can include here in this opening and closing parenthesis. So in this code, in this definition, we have used the name as my argument, and this string is being passed from my calling function, and you can see the value which is passed to this function is nothing but juice. We will see all these things in detail in the later part. So directly starting with the example, just see the example here. Here I am defining a function known as print me. So this is my definition. So I am starting with the keyword def, and it is taking a string value. It is taking one argument, and which is a string argument. After that I have written this doc string, and it is writing this prints a pass string into the function. Okay, so this function is usually going to print whatever the string is there in this print statement. Okay, so now I am printing str. So I have defined the definition, and in this definition I am only printing a string which is provided in this definition. So now how to call a function? We have defined a function, we have given the body of the function, but this is not only sufficient one. Defining a function only gives a name, it only specifies the parameters that are to be included in the function and the structure of block of codes. But if I want to use that function, so after my basic designing of the function is finalized, you can execute this function by calling it from another function or directly calling it from the Python prompt. Okay, so here is my example. I have defined the function as my function. I'm passing nothing to this function, and in this definition I'm writing print. In print command I'm writing hello from a function. Okay, so I have given a basic definition, and now suppose I want to use this function, so for that I have to call my function. Okay, so as soon as my function is encountered, the control will go from here to the calling function. So this is my calling function and this is my called function. So as soon as the control goes to my called function, it will identify the name of the function as my function and it will print hello from a function. So this definition, this function gives this output, which is hello from a function. Okay, so here writing a function is exactly similar to writing functions in your C programming. The only difference is here we don't write the starting and the closing bracket. You can follow it, but everything in Python is intended. So you can see after def we have given some space, and after giving some space I have written this print command. So this is very much important to give the indentation. If you will not give indentation, if you will not give any space here, you will directly write this P before just below this D, so nothing will come inside this my function. It will be out of this my function. Okay, next is we can call the function with argument. In the previous example we have not taken any type of argument. So suppose I want to take argument to my function. Okay, so here I have defined one function as my function and I'm passing a parameter as fname. Okay, and now in this my function I want to print first name of a person, which is provided from my here function parameter, and plus I want to add the surname. Okay, so from my function I'll be passing the first name and my function should print that first name along with this string, which is Bira. Okay, so when I will call my function with this parameter Anand, so it will pass this value and it will be copied to the fname, and when my function will execute, it will print first name is Anand and the concatenated string is Bira. Now second time when my function name will be called, string Pushpa will be passed and it will be copied to the fname, and now it will print fname as Pushpa and concatenated string will be Bira. Okay, so in the third calling the string will be passed Riddish to the fname and it will print first name as Riddish and concatenated last name as Birha. Okay, so you can call a function a multiple number of times, you can use this code a multiple number of times, and whenever a different values you will be passing, that different value will be returned to your program and it will be executed. Now the next thing is the return statement. Typically we use the return statement whenever we want to return some value to my program, and apart from that, if I am not passing any value to my calling program, I can simply use the return statement to exit from my function and to go back to the place from where it has been called. Okay, so typically we use the return keyword to send back the result of the function. Instead of printing, it can also directly take us out if we don't want to print anything directly into the function. Okay, so there are two options of using a return statement. Firstly, if you want to exit from the function, you will use the return statement and you will not return any value. Second is, if you want to return some value from my function to the main program, in that case you will use the return statement. So you have taken one example of return statement. So suppose I am having a function, I am defining a function with def keyword, and my function name is print me, and it is taking one string. Okay, so this is basically used to show how string is passed from my function, from my program to the function. Okay, and now it will simply print the string, and now after it has print the value, it will simply return. So you can see I am printing the value of string directly here. I am not returning anything to my main program, to my Python prompt. So here I am simply using the return keyword and I am not returning any value. Okay, so to execute this function, I will call my print me function. I am calling my print me function, and here I am passing the string as I am first to call user defined function. I am passing this value of this string, I am passing this string to my print me function. So this complete string I am first to call user defined function will be as it is passed to this string variable, and in this function I am simply printing the value. So it will print my first output of my calling function as I am first to call user defined function. Now it will print the value and it will return to the place from where it has been called. कहाँ से कॉल हुआ था? यहाँ से. So it will return here. Next is the again print me statement, and here it is taking the string as again second call to the same function. So this string will be again copied to my this string variable, and its value will be printed through the print statement. Okay, through print statement it will print my second output, that is again second call to the same function. Okay, and now it will return to the next line. Okay, so like this my return statement will work. So we have seen the return statement. In the previous example we have taken only one argument. Likewise we can pass multiple arguments to the function. Here we can use we can pass multiple arguments. So here I am using two arguments, number 1 and number 2, and I can return their addition to the calling program. Okay, so my calling program will return the addition of these two numbers. So here I am calling this function add function, and I am passing two value 1 and 2, and whenever the add function will be called, the control will go from here to here. It will jump from add function and it will take value 1, and value 1 will be copied to my num1 variable, and my value 2 will be copied to my num2 variable. Okay, so this num1 variable will have the value 1 and num2 variable will have the value 2. So my next statement is the return statement, and it is in between performing the addition. So it will perform addition as 1 plus 2, and so the result will be 3, and the 3 value will be returned, and now the return is called from here. So in the same line, since it is returning a value, so the return will be to the same line, and this value 3 will be copied to my result variable, and now I can print this value of result. So it will give me output as 3. Okay, so this return statement can return a value, this return statement can not return a value. It's totally up to the programmer whether they want to return value or not. Now we can also have the another way of passing the string. So let's see, here I'm taking the same example, but I'm showing one another way. I've used the same print me function. I am passing a string to my this print me function, and this is simply printing the value of that string, and after that it is returning. Okay, so I'm calling the function print me, and in the previous example I have directly passed this string. So the alternate way is we can specify the variable name. After that we can use equal to. We are directly assigning this string to my string str, that is variable str, and through this assignment also we can pass this value to the calling function. Okay, so there is an alternate way. Directly, rather than passing the string, you can do the assignment to the parameter, and after the assignment you can pass that value to the calling function. Okay, so it is giving exactly the same output. The only difference is, in the previous example we have directly passed the string, and here we have assigned it to the parameter, and after assigning it we are calling the function. Now talking about the number of arguments. By default, a function must be called with the correct number of argument. So suppose I have created one function and I am passing only one value to the function, so it is compulsory for me to provide that one value. If I will not provide that one value, so it will simply show me the error that a function is asking for one parameter, and if I am not providing it, then definitely it will give me some errors. Okay, so likewise, if you are providing two argument to the function, then the function will definitely expect the two argument and not more than that, and even not less than that. So such scenario may arise when you want to give the specific arguments to the functions. So let's see one example. Here I am having one function. I have defined it with the def keyword. My name of the function is my function, and it is taking two arguments, f name and the last name, that is the first name and the last name. And now I am printing first name, then I have concatenated it with the blank space, and after that I am writing the last name. Okay, so now I am calling my function, and I am passing two argument. In place of f name I am passing Pushpa, and in place of L name I am passing Bira. Okay, so this first string will be copied to my f name, my second string will be copied to my L name, and it will give me result as Pushpa Chutil. So this definitely gives us a more clear picture that the number of argument matters. I am defining two arguments in my function, so I have to pass two arguments. If I have defined one argument in my definition, then I have to pass one argument. But the order of parameter does not matter in your Python programming. This is the main essence of your Python programming, that the order of parameter does not matter. Now let's see with an example. Suppose I have defined one function as print info, and it is taking two arguments as name and age. Okay, after that we have to give colon. Colon is very much essential because it is my definition. Okay, so now what my this definition is going to do, it prints a past information to the function. Whatever the information we are passing to this function, it will be printed. Okay, so now I am printing the name as well as I am printing the age. Okay, and now after printing the name and age from the variable name and from the variable age, it will return. Okay, so it is not going to return any value. So we will now call this function. So I'm calling this function print info, and you can see my first argument here is name and my second argument is age. But here, while calling the function, the first argument that I'm first providing is my age, and the second argument that I'm providing here is name. Okay, so I'm passing the value of age as 50. So here it will check where my variable name is age. So this 50 value will be copied to the age variable only, though it is in the second order, but I am providing the value in the first order. Similarly, name, which is we have defined here as Mickey, it will be copied to the name variable only, though it is there in the first order. So this program will print name as Mickey because the value copied in the name variable is Mickey, and the age will print as 50 because the age variable contains the value 50. So here you can see the order does not matter if you are specifically providing the values for that particular function argument. The next thing that we are going to learn today is the arbitrary arguments. Now, as we have seen previously that the number of argument has to be that much that we have clearly defined in the function definition. But suppose I have defined two variables in my function, and now suppose I don't want to define whether I have to pass two argument or whether I have to pass one argument. In that situation, you can make use of this arbitrary arguments. Basically, this arbitrary arguments gives us the flexibility where we can identify, we can specify the number of arguments. Okay, so whenever I'm not sure how much number of arguments I want to pass, in that case I can make use of this arbitrary arguments. And this arbitrary arguments are nothing but with the help of star in the parameter list. Okay, so let's see how we can use this arbitrary argument. So we will make use of this arbitrary argument with the help of one example. So here I have given one example in which I have defined the function name as my function, and in the bracket I have given star, and after that I have defined one parameter which is the kids. Okay, so basically what your arbitrary argument does is, if you don't know how many arguments that will be passed into your function, at that time you will add an asterisk before the parameter name in the function definition. Okay, so if you do not know how many arguments will be passed, so in that situation we will be using the arbitrary arguments. So here I have defined one arbitrary argument as star kids. Okay, so before the parameter kids, I have, before the variable name kids, I have used this asterisk mark, and it will indicate that this is going to be my arbitrary argument. And from this function I'm printing the youngest child name. Okay, so let's see how it will work. In my function, from where I'm calling this function, I'm passing 3 parameters, and you can see in my definition I have not defined the number of parameter, whether I will be having number of argument as 1, number of argument as 2. So it is not clearly defined that how many number of arguments I will be passing to my function. So since I am not sure, that's why I have used the asterisk mark before my variable name, and this is showing that I am not sure how many number of arguments I will be passing to my function. Okay, so in my calling function here I am passing 3 values, 3 strings to my function as Emil, Tobias and Linus, and when I will be passing these values, 3 values, so all these 3 values will be copied here to my this parameter. And now suppose I want to print the youngest child name, so I can make use of this list, because here I am passing a list, and from that list I am specifically printing the second index value. So my second index value is here. In list it will be having the 0 index, it will be having the first index, it will be having the second index. So you can see at this second index I am having the value as Linus. So it will print the youngest child is Linus. Okay, so what basically I want to say is, we can pass any list to the function, we can pass any tuples to the function, we can pass any dictionary in fact to the functions, and since the size of the list may not be fixed one, so in that case we can make use of the arbitrary arguments. Next is the keyword argument. We can also send the arguments with the key equal to value syntax. Okay, we can pass the key and like we can assign the value, and here also the order of the arguments does not matter. So consider the one example here. I have defined one function as my function, and here I have defined the 3 options. Here I have defined the 3 parameters as child 3, child 2 and child 1, and now I want to print the youngest child name, and the youngest child name I am printing is child 3. Okay, so I can pass the value to my function, and I can directly here declare the keyword equal to, that is key equal to my value. Okay, so here basically I can define the keyword argument. For each and every argument I can send its value. Okay, and now it will print the output as the youngest child is, the child value that I am printing is 3, so my youngest child is nothing but the Linus. So you can see again here the order does not matter, because in the parameter I have defined as child 3, then child 2 and then child 1, and here I am passing the value as child 1, child 2 and child 3. Okay, so my output will be based on the output value that I want to print. The next concept is the default argument. A default argument is basically the argument which assigns a default value if the value is not provided in the function call for that argument. Okay, so suppose I am calling a function and I have forgot to define one value, and I can define it as a default value. Okay, so this will be very much clear if we will take one example. Consider one definition. I have defined one function as print info, and it is taking 2 arguments, name and age. Here I have defined a default argument as age, this age variable is a default argument, and here I have defined a value as 35. So now it will print the name and it will print the age, and after that it will return. Okay, so now when I will call my function and I'm passing the value of age here as 50, so my 50 value will be copied to my age. Okay, so already the age is defined with the value 35, so when I'm calling this function, this 35 will be overridden and it will be replaced by 50. Okay, so for this function the age will have the value 50 and name will have the value Mickey. Okay, so as soon as I will call this print info function, it will print name as Mickey and age as 50. Okay, now second time when I will call this function, I am passing only the name as Mickey. I am not providing the name value, I am not providing the age value. So my name will be printed as Mickey, and since here not any value for age is defined, so by default value for age will be taken as 35 and it will print value as 35 for my age. So this is what exactly is the default argument. So default argument is one argument that assumes the default value if the value is not provided in the function call for that argument. Okay, so likewise we can define the many default values if we want to do so. The next concept that we will learn today is pass by reference and pass by value. Basically in Python programming, all the arguments that we are passing in Python programming is through pass by reference. It means if you change any parameter value within a function, that change will also be reflected in the calling function. Okay, so suppose I am defining one function as change me and I am providing a list. Okay, so I am providing a list, and to my this list I am appending certain values, and after that I am printing its value inside the function and outside the function. So let's see what happens. So suppose I am calling I have created one list as my list, and in that list I am having three values 10, 20 and 30, and now I am calling my function as change me and I am providing this list. So this list will be copied to my change me function and it will be copied here as 10, 20 and 30. Next is the my list will be appended with the value 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this list will be appended with the value 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it will print the value inside the function is the values inside the function is 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3 and 4. All these values are reflected in the function, and now since if it was call by value, then this changes should not get reflected in the my main program, should not get reflected in my program, right? So let's see, when I am coming through the return value, and now suppose I want to print whether my list has been appended, whether it has been modified or not, that I can see by this print command. So now I am printing the value outside the function. The value outside my function is my list, and since it is call by reference in Python, the same list will be seen here. The list will be appended with the value 1, 2, 3, 4. If it wouldn't have been the call by reference, then outside my function only my value 10, 20 and 30 would have been printed. Okay, so you can see in Python all we have is call by reference. Next we are going to learn is pass function. If I don't want to write any definition to my function, so at that time I can make use of this pass function. So a function definition cannot be empty in Python, so because of that I can specify a pass keyword, and with this pass keyword I can provide no definition to my Python function, and if I will like that, it will never give any type of error. Okay, so if I don't want to provide any definition to my function, in that case I can use the print statement and it will avoid any type of error. This type of pass functions are very much useful when we will be learning the object oriented programming, because in object oriented programming, suppose I don't want to provide any definition, so in that case I can make use of it. The next concept is def within def. That means we can define one definition within another definition, and this type of definition providing within another definition is called as the nested function. So we can define one outer function, and in that we can define one inner function. So this type of function can access name in the enclosing function. Let's see with an example. Here I have defined one definition and its name is outer function, and in that outer function I am defining one inner function named as inner underscore func, and here I am printing hello world. Okay, so after printing the hello world, I am calling my inner function, and for getting this outer function to be executed, I have to call it from the outside. Okay, so from the program I am calling the outer function. As soon as I will call this outer function, my control will go from outer function to here. It will check what is the code written inside, so no code is written, but as soon as it will go down here, it will see a call to the inner function. As long as it will see the call to the inner function, the jump will go from here to here and it will print hello world. Okay, so you can see I have defined the outer function, and from that outer function I have defined one inner function. So this type of definition within definitions is called as the def within def or the nested function. In this code you can define the inner function inside the outer function to print the hello world message to the screen, and to do that you call the inner function on the last line of the outer function. This is the quickest way to write an inner function in Python. However, inner function provides a lots of interesting possibilities beyond what you see in this example. The core feature of inner function is the ability to access variables and infects from their enclosing functions even after this function is returned. So the choosing function provides a namespace that is accessible to the inner function. So when you are using the definition within definition, be very much sure what you want to do and how you want to do, and this def within def are very much useful when you are using the recursion. So recursions are the best example of this definitions within the definition. Okay, so from this outer function we will be calling the inner function, and in that inner function we will print the hello world. So this is all about the today's lecture. In today's lecture we have seen about how to write a function, what is its syntax, what are the different type of function, how to use the return statement, how to use the number of arguments in your program, how to use the arbitrary arguments, how to use the keyword argument, default argument, as well as we have seen what is the difference between the pass by value and pass by reference. Thank you.